Hello art beaters, Becky here for artbeads.com, and I've got a brand new video for you today. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to do the right angle weave, which is a really fun loopy stitch that works up pretty fast, and you can do it with a lot of different bead sizes, bead shapes, all to make different effects in your jewelry designs. So we'll be taking a look at that and some jewelry examples for how to use it in your projects. All right, so right angle weave. This is a very simple weave. It's a circular weave. You just kind of make loops of beads and you keep doing that. And we do have a PDF diagram for how to do the right angle weave, which is also known as RAW, the abbreviation. So you kind of just use 4 beads and make little loops, and you keep going with that, and you can build on the rows. What's fun about this stitch is it's easy to take this stitch in whatever direction you want to go. I'll kind of be showing you how to do this design with the beads I have here, and what's cool is like you can loop your beads and just work your way down the length of the bracelet first and then build the second row, or you can work this loop, add this loop, and then like do little rows on top of that. So really easy, approachable stitch that you can attack in multiple ways. Again, we've got that PDF diagram. I've got a link to that in the video description. We've also got another great video featuring Leslie Rogalski, who's an amazing designer and teacher, and she kind of has the diagram of beads printed out, and she draws kind of the thread path for you for how to do this weave. So that's also very helpful to take a look at too. And here's another example of the right angle weave on this cute little Clada bracelet. I think this is so cute. So this one is just simply loops done lengthwise, but what makes this one so interesting is there's several beads used in place of one. So this little seed bead counts as one bead, and then this sequence of fire polished, seed bead, fire polished counts as one bead in the loop. Then you've got the seed bead counting as one bead, and then fire polished, seed bead, fire polished as one bead. So that's one loop, and then you do the same for the next loop. And it creates this kind of almost like clover-like design between the loops. So really cool different things you can do with this weave. And the other fun thing about the right angle weave is you can use all kinds of different beads. You can use fire polished beads, you can use rounds, you can use crystals, seed beads, whatever kind of bead that you want to work with pretty much works for this weave. So that's also very exciting. So like I said earlier, I've got 3 different colors of beads here. I've got that new Prestige Crystal Citrus Green color. Absolutely loving that color. It's so bright and fresh for spring. Oh yay, I'm so glad you love right angle weave, Carrie. Yes, and these projects are in our design studio as well with free instructions and a supplies list. I've got links to these in the video description as well. I will kind of be showing pretty much how this bracelet is made. And so I've got the citrus green bicones, and then I got a couple check glass round colors. I've got this soft, almost like a lemon color, and then this really wonderful like lavender mauve or purple color here. I'm working with a beading needle size 12. Hi Karen. And then I'm using Fireline thread. I'm using Fireline because I'm working with crystals. Fireline is really strong, especially when you're working with crystals, so that is why I have Fireline today. So let's dive into this. So I am going to cut a length of my Fireline. I like to do about an arm span length, like 3 feet or so. That's a good length to start with. I will cut that. Yay! Love the right angle weave. I have made several different bracelets. Is it okay to post here? Yeah, we would love to see what you make. You can post a picture in the comments. And if you're not a member of our private Facebook group for serious art beaters, you should definitely join there and post your pictures there as well. We love to see what you make. You can also leave product reviews on our website with photos of the pieces that you've made with the products that you've bought at artbeads.com. So all kinds of different ways guys to share your designs. We love seeing what you make. So I'm just going to thread my needle here with my fire line. And I'm using a black color fire line. That's just so you can see the thread. You might want to use a color that matches your beads a little bit better. But for demonstration purposes, I thought black thread on a light background would work the best. All right, I've got my needle threaded here. And I'm going to start with the first little loop of beads here. So this bracelet does feature a color diagram. What I would suggest for this project is to take a pen. And if you're new to this stitch, I would kind of like draw out the thread path as I go. So first what we're gonna do is just make this little loop here. So I'm just gonna loop those 4 beads all together. What size fire line am I using? I am using a 4-pound fire line, so 0.007 inch average diameter. And I'm using 4mm size beads. So these are 4mm check glass rounds and 4mm prestige crystal bicones. So to start the stitch, I'm just going to add 4 beads of my kind of my background color there. Now I'm going to use this purple as the background color, and then to make these like little diamond patterns in the weave, I'm going to alternate between this and then the crystal. So we're going to start with our background color here. We're going to pick up 4. Yeah, right angle weave is a fun one. And I always was kind of intimidated by right angle weave because I thought it was like super complicated, but it's not. It's a pretty simple stitch to tackle. All right, I've got my 4 beads on there. I'm gonna leave a tail about 6 inches. So you can weave that in later when you're all done. And I'm just gonna loop back around through all of those beads that I added. Pull tight. You can see I've got my first little loop there, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tie a knot with my working thread and my tail, and that's just going to tighten everything up and keep my beads in place so they won't like slide off the tail while I'm working. You can also add a stopper bead if you don't want to knot. All right, and then I'm going to come back. My thread, my working thread is now between these 2 beads. I'm going to come back through this bead. So pretty easy start to the right angle weave. Now, like I said, you can tackle this weave in different ways. From here, you could add these 3 color beads here, and then just keep doing that, working on the stitch lengthwise until your bracelet is the desired length. For today, since doing it widthwise is going to show you more of the ins and outs, I'm going to do it widthwise. So I'm going to add this next little loop of beads. So the next 3 background colors. These loops of beads intersect. So the first one that you're adding, you're going to add those 4 beads, but because these loops are connected, I'm only adding 3 beads for this next loop in the same color. Yeah, there's different ways to approach this stitch, so it is kind of fun to see how different people approach it. So I'm picking up 3 of that background color, and because this bead in my first loop is part of the second loop, I'm going to loop around through the other side of that bead. Boop. So we've got that done. And I'm going to come back through these beads here. So I'm in position to start my next loop in the second row. So I need to be coming out of this bead, since this bead is the one that connects to the next loop up. All right, so I'm going to draw it out for you so we know what beads to add. So we're coming out of this bead. So we want to add the next two diamond colors and a background color. So I'm going to start with the round beads for my diamonds, and then a background. And then I'm going looping back through that one bead that I'm coming out of. Woohoo! All right, and then I need to do the next loop over, and my tail is kind of in the way here, so let's get that out of the way. I'm gonna come through the top bead on the next loop over. Now we're ready to add the next bead on this side. So for this little loop, you can see that we've already got two of the beads that are part of the loop strung on. We're coming out of this bead here. So we're gonna add a background color and a diamond color and loop back through that bead that we're coming out of. So we're just adding two beads here. The background color and the diamond color. And then coming back down through this side bead here on this other loop. And I'm gonna loop back through this little circle here to get in position to add the next row of right angle weave. So it's just a bunch of series of loops really that you're making. All right, so I'm coming out of this bead right here. So I need to add this tip of the diamond color and then two background colors. So we'll add the tip of the diamond color, two background colors, and we'll loop around here. Yes, watch Leslie Rogalski's video too if all of this looping makes your head spin. It seems complicated, but once you actually do it, once you actually get into it, it's not as complicated. And that's why I like to kind of draw it out as I go, because then it just keeps me on track. All right, we've added that loop. So we're coming out of that. We're coming out of this bead. So we're gonna make our second loop in this row, and we're just gonna add two background colors since we already have two of the beads in place. So we just need to add two background colors to that loop. Go through that bead there. There we go. And then I'm going to loop back up through that top bead in the diamond. And then go through that top bead in the circle we just made. In place to add the next little loop. All right, so these loops are just going to be background colors. So we're coming out of this bead here. We're just going to add 3 of the background color to make our next loop. One, two, three. And then we're going to go through the loop again so that we're coming out of the other side. of that one. We already have 2 of the beads in this loop in place, so we're adding 2 of the background color. And coming back down through that side. So I've got that loop in place. I'm gonna loop through all of these beads. Yeah, getting it started is the hardest part, and then it flows nicely. So once you do a few rows, you kind of get the flow of it, and it starts becoming a little easier. Now, if you're just using one color, it's gonna be super easy because you don't have to pay attention to the colors you're doing. You can just keep looping. All right, now we're in position to add the next one. So we're coming out of this bead here. We're gonna add 2 of the diamond colors and then 1 background. And since we're alternating the diamonds, we're ready to add our crystal diamond. So we've got 2 of that diamond color and then a background color. And we're gonna loop through. There we go. I'm excited to see how these bicones take shape in this weave. All right, so we're coming out of the point here. We're coming out of this bead. So we're gonna add a background color and a diamond color. And then loop through that diamond color that's already in place. So fun. Kind of loop through the same loop. So much looping. I think that's what's the most intimidating, is there's so much circling back. It kind of makes your head spin, but once you start doing it, it gets easy. All right, so we're coming out of that one. We're coming out of this bead here. So we're gonna add that diamond color and 2 background beads. Diamond color, 2 background beads. Diamond color, 2 background beads. And we're gonna loop back through that bead. There we go. Come through that next point over. Okay. So we're coming out of this bead here. We're gonna add 2 background colors to complete the loop. And go through that top point in the diamond. These are 4mm beads that I'm working with. I chose 4mm beads because they show up a little better on camera. You can really use all kinds of different sizes for this weave. These are 3mm beads. I think these are even 2mm fire polished beads with like 15-aught seed beads thrown in. You can really get creative with the right angle weave and play with your bead sizes, your bead shapes. It's a really versatile weave, and so you just keep going with that. And I can show you too how to approach this stitch the lengthwise way. So the lengthwise way might be easier for you to approach. I wanted to show you this way first because it kind of shows all of the ins and outs of this stitch once you start adding rows to your base right angle weave. So the alternative way to start your right angle weave is lengthwise. So just building one long row of right angle weave. So I'll show you how to do that. Again, we have more instructions. We have this great PDF diagram on our website, artbeads.com. We've got that great video from Leslie Rogalski showing you more about how the thread path works. She's an excellent teacher. So if you do need more help with this, we have a lot of resources available to you. I think it's a really approachable stitch. All of the looping makes it seem complicated, but it's really because the initial loops, they're just simple little loops of beads, so it's easy to weave in and out to the position you need, and it's easy to kind of approach the stitch in whatever direction you want. So that's what makes it more approachable for me. Okay, so if you want to start this stitch lengthwise, I'll show you starting on the other end of this diagram. You would add your first loop like we did at the beginning of our bracelet. So 4 background beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure your tail is long enough to weave back in. Loop back through all 4 of those beads again. To make a little circle of beads. And I like to knot my tail to my working thread to keep that loop tight. So we've got our little loop. I'm going to come through this bead here. And then we're going to work up lengthwise. So instead of adding this sequence of beads, we're going to be adding this sequence of beads. So we'll add 2 diamond colors and a background color. And then do the loop through that top bead. Oops, don't shake the camera. And then we'll move up to the top bead there. The top bead of this loop, and then add the next loop that's on top of this one. So this one might go faster. So we're coming out of the left-hand side. So we're going to add 2 background beads and a diamond color. This one might work faster because it's just the same looping over and over. You don't have to think, am I adding 3 here? Am I adding 2? It's just 3 on top of the last loop over and over. So in some instances, it might be faster to start your bracelet lengthwise. And then once you've got the full length, then add that second row of right angle weave. So we've got that one coming out of the right hand side. We're going to add 3 background beads. One, 2, 3. Would you be able to use 8/0 or 6/0 seed beads with 3mm crystals? I think so. I actually have some here. We can kind of take a look at that and see. So we've got that loop. We're coming out of the left-hand side. We need a background bead and 2 diamond colors. Loop it around. So it's like you're making one half of the bracelet first and then going back down and making the other half if you approach the stitch this way. And this can be faster going initially. All right, so coming out this side of the bead, I'm going to add a diamond bead and 2 background colors. And loop through. My thread always gets caught on the corner of my tray. That's okay. All right, so let's say that we've done like the whole bracelet lengthwise. So we've done like 6 or 7 inches. So then you would come back down and do the next side, the next half of the bracelet. So let's say we're there. Let's say this piece is 7 inches. So we're coming out, you want to be coming out of that second bead on the point. So we're coming out of this bead. We want to add 2 background beads and a diamond bead to make our next loop. So pretty straightforward. 2 background beads and a diamond bead. Then loop back through. There you go. Seems so easy while I am watching, but then I try it and I get lost. Yeah, you just have to kind of, you know, keep watching, look at all the instructions you have and keep trying. It gets easier the more you try it. So I've come through that loop. I'm going to come down through the side bead on this next loop down. All right. So I'm coming out of this bead here. I need to add 2 background beads. And go through that diamond to make my loop. There we go. So then you just keep working your way down from here to fill in that other half of your bracelet. I'm going to go through this bead since it's at the top of my next loop that I need to fill in. All right. So we're coming out of this bead here. We need to add 2 background beads here to complete the loop. Come up through this bead that's in that loop. Yeah, I would start with using a single color the first time to get the loop paths right. If you're using just one color, you don't have to worry about, oh, what color am I doing here? It's just solely focusing on the loop paths, as Tina said. Come through this bead because it's for the next point. Got a little kink in my thread there. Make sure that thread's nice and tight. And then I'm going to come down through this bead since it's the next one in the loop. Then I'm ready to fill in the blanks there. So I'm coming out of this bead. I need to add a diamond bead and a background bead. Get in position to fill in the next loop. We're coming out of this bead here, so we need to add 2 background beads. Yeah, I did notice it was easier doing the left side than coming down the right side. I think it's faster initially, and then you kind of have to start thinking about your loops when you come back down to do the right side. All right. So we're coming out of this bead. We need to add our last two background beads. But I did want to show you both ways in case you wanted to, in case one way seemed easier. There. So that's right angle weave. And then you'll notice on this bracelet that we have in our design studio that after we finished the whole bracelet, we went back through these edges and added little embellishment beads. So all that you have to do that is come out of those points on the side and then add just like a smaller little bead. And I have some bicones here that we can add. Ooh, that's pretty. Just add those in between. So that's going to go really fast once you've finished your bracelet. You're just adding those between the points of your loops. Like that. That's really cute. And I think that helps give your bracelet a bit more structure too. This is a pretty loose weave. So adding those bracelets between the points of the weave, I think helps strengthen it and give it a little more structure in your designs. And it adds a fun little pop of color. I think it would be fun to make it fringy by adding some like little daggers. Wouldn't that be cute? Little dagger coming out of there. Let's try it. Just to show you what that would look like. Yeah, that would be so fun. I think that'd be really cute. So you can definitely play with all of the different beads that you want to use. And today I showed you here how to do it with different color patterns like the one in our pixie dust bracelet. But definitely if you're just starting out, maybe try just one color, and that way you can focus on the thread path. Let me show you that. Maybe we'll take a look at that. So if you're just using one color, you would just pick up 4 beads for your one color. Oops. Brought my thread right through all the beads. Luckily I was holding them. Going too fast. I like beaded bracelets with a picot edge too. I think it just adds a little something extra. I like picot edge on bead embroidery too. All kinds of ways you can use picot edges. So if we want to just focus on one color, we would loop our first 4 beads, and I'm trying to tie a knot here. There we go. Loop our first 4 beads. Add 3 beads for the adjoining loop. There, got that loop on. We'll do another loop on top of that one. One, 2, 3. And then we'll come back down and do the next loop. So this one, you don't even have to worry about what colors you're picking up. You just know, okay, I've got one bead already in place for this loop. I need to pick up 3 beads and complete the loop. Come down through this bead in the loop. My tail is getting caught in there. Pull that out. And then look at this one, I'm like, okay, I've got 2 beads already in place for this loop, so I just need to pick up 2 more beads to complete this loop. And come through that bead that's already in place. Go down through these 2 beads. And then this one. My thread's getting all caught up. There we go. And then say, all right, for this loop, I've got 2 beads already in place. I need to just pick up 2 more beads and finish the loop. So a little easier to think about if you're just working with one color. But then once you get that down, then you can start adding more colors in and kind of playing with what patterns you're making with all these loops. So really fun stitch, lots of looping, works up pretty quickly, I think. This is just a few rows and you've already got a nice bit of length there. And I am using bigger beads, but it works up pretty quickly with the smaller sizes too. And something like this would work up really fast because you're just doing that 1 row lengthwise of right angle weave. So that would work up really fast, and it makes it kind of a cute, like almost like a daisy chain kind of look. Little texture in your designs. So all kinds of different ways to approach right angle weave. You can use all kinds of different beads with this technique. It's a fun one to play with. If you have any more questions, please let me know. And do remember that we have that nice PDF diagram with picture diagrams and text instructions to help you out even more with the stitch. And we also have a really great video with Leslie Rogalski where she shows you the thread path. She kind of draws out the thread path and explains it as she goes. And there are also some great design studio tutorials in our design studio for you to try once you feel comfortable with the stitch or you're ready to tackle the stitch. I say go for it. The great thing about all of these stitches is if you mess up, you can kind of just cut your threads, unstring all the beads, and start over. No harm, no foul. So don't be afraid to try it. You'll get there. I believe in you guys. So super fun. I am enjoying the right angle weave. I think this would be a cute little spring bracelet or even a cute little choker once it's all done. I would love to see what you are doing with right angle weave or other stitches. Always good to see what you're doing. Gail, I love pra and craw too. That smaller turquoise and silver one would make a great watch band. Oh yeah, I know that a lot of people make like beaded bands for their Apple smartwatches. That would be kind of fun to do for something like that. Really cute. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this video was helpful to you. I hope you learned something. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, just leave a like and a comment. We love hearing from you. And as always, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you're the first to know when videos like this one are out. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.